It's the human body in less than 200 pages. Hi everyone, I'm Jacob. I'm the Cowhat Librarian, and I'm here tonight to talk about Wow in the World, The How and Wow of the Human Body by Mindy Thomas and Guy Raz. Now, this is kind of a new one for this channel. It's nonfiction. It's shelved in my library's juvenile nonfiction section. So in general, nonfiction books intended for, say, age 7 to 8 up to 11 or 12-ish. And it's all about the human body from head to toe. The authors have a lot of great information with both scientific words for things and more common terms. They're great at offering analogies for the children reading this book or being read to. So they'll describe things in terms of an object or a food they might be more familiar with, to give them some sense of the scale and shape and purpose of the piece of anatomy they're talking about. The text descriptions are accompanied by fun comic-y illustrations, and while they're not scientifically accurate, these are not diagrams that would show up in a biology textbook, they're easily identifiable, very accessible, and very, very clear. And to top it off, the authors have their stand-ins who also appear for jokes and running commentary, especially in the introduction to the different sections of the book. Now, it's a pretty comprehensive look at things. It covers, the major bones, the organs, the senses, things like the human immune system and what sweat does and what saliva does, what your blood is for. And it's really, really well written. I have two daughters who are 4 and 6 years old, and we spent the last couple weeks reading this as a bedtime story. We'd read a chapter or two each night until we finally finished it just the other night. And they were absolutely compelled. Now, my 4-year-old is interested in the body and in anatomy, and has watched various YouTube videos and looked at different books that cover some of these topics, and she was thrilled, but so was my 6-year-old who's more into Archie comics. They got a lot out of it, and they especially appreciated the extra stuff, the jokes and silly stuff that was included. For example, there's an entire chapter about poop, and there's a special bonus chapter about the butt. And in addition to the scientific details about what it's for and what its purpose is in the body, there's also just some fun silliness to go with it, which was a lot of fun for them. And who would I recommend this to? Well, any kids who are looking for a general book about their bodies and how the different parts of it work. Any kid who doesn't want a book that just focuses on one system or another. I know my library has books about different parts of the body, books about bones, books about muscles, books about the organs, books about senses. And this is a more comprehensive look at all those different topics in one book. It worked fine for my 6 and 4-year-old with me reading it to them. If you were planning on giving this to a child to read on their own, I'd probably recommend someone who's, 8, 9, possibly 10 years old, with you handy to provide definitions of 1 or 2 of the longer words. I highly recommend it. If you've got a young would-be doctor or anatomy fan, please set them up with this book. I think they'll enjoy it. So, in addition to everything else I've already mentioned, the book also contains a chapter about puberty, and for the target audience, so kids who are still a few years away from hitting puberty, I thought it covered the whole process quite well. It didn't get into super specific descriptions of changes to genitals. It didn't get into super detailed stuff about hormones, but it did give just a very, very high level discussion about, hey, your body is going to change, you are going to have a growth spurt, you are going to start growing more hair, and have acne. And it served as a really, really nice, gentle introduction suitable for, again, that younger crowd, no matter what body parts they have. And I thought it was really, really well done. I'm glad they included it. My kids, as I said, 4 and 6, they're still, a number of years off from that point. But they've got a base idea to think about, and then they have that word that's familiar to them already, which I think is kind of a good thing. So I recommend it. If you've got some young ones in your life, your kids, your students, your patrons at your library, I recommend this to them. They should borrow it from their local public library. And while I'm on the topic, if you appreciate and support your local library, I highly suggest that you take just a minute and let the powers that be know that you support them. Tell your city council or municipal council or other funders that you support your local library and that you appreciate the services that it offers. The more positive things they hear about public libraries, the easier it is for them to say yes to increased funding so that libraries can offer more services and more programming and more materials. With that, thanks for listening to me talk all about this book about the body. Please, by all means, like, subscribe, and check back and see what else I have to talk about from the Cowhat Library. Thank you. Bye now.